Welcome to this amazing project demo. In this, we are going to create daily planner app. Here I am having heading daily planner. Below this, I am having simple text. Let's get started. Add your daily task to the list. Then I am having select field. When I click on this, I will be having 30 numbers, and these numbers are generated in dynamic way. They are not the static one. Then I am having input field where I can add my task, and finally I am having this add button. Then below this I am having this sort option. When I click on this, I will be having three values, and based on these three values I can sort the data. Then finally I am having this clear list button, and below that I am having footer. Let us add the task. Here I will be giving two. I just want to record two videos. I will write record two videos. As soon as I click on add, you can see this item is added along with checkbox to record videos, and then I am having this cross symbol. As soon as I added one item, you can see that message has gone. Instead, I am having you have one task in your list and you have completed 0, that is 0% of your task. Okay, now I will be adding one more item, 3. Here I will write 3 edit videos. Click on add. Item is added. Now I am having 2 tasks and I have completed 0 tasks in my list. Again I will be adding 5. I will write here pack bags. Click on add. Item will be added. Now you can see here number is getting increased. How many items I have added, that number will be given here. And as of now, I have not completed any task. So that is the reason it is 0 here. I will be adding last task. I will write here 4 upload videos. Click on add. So in total, I have added 4 tasks, and as of now, I have not completed any task. Now what I will do, I will just check on this. Now you can see in total, I am having 4 tasks, but now I have completed one task, that is 25% of my task is completed. Now I will check on this. I have completed 2 tasks, that is 50% of my task is completed. Then similar to that, check on this. I have completed 3 tasks, that is 75%. And finally, when I complete all the tasks, instead of displaying 100%, as soon as I check on this, I will be having this message. Awesome job! You have successfully completed your daily task. But after some time, I realized I have not uploaded any videos. So I can uncheck on this. Again, I will be back to the previous message. You have completed 3 tasks, and in total 75% of the task is completed. And here I will be having 4 tasks in the list. Now what I just want to remove this 5 packing bags. I will just click on this cross. You can see now I am having 3 tasks and I have completed 2 tasks. I have completed 2 tasks, that is 67% of my task. Again, when I complete all the tasks, I will be having this message. Now I will be adding one more item, 6. Now here I will be writing cut apples. Click on add. As soon as I added, again I am having 4 tasks and I have completed 3 tasks, that is 75% of my task. I will be adding one more task. I will write here 7. Here I will write cut veggies. Click on add. Item is added here. Now what I will do, here I am having 3 options to sort. First is by default. In whatever order I have added the items, in that order I will be having the result. If I click on this, I will be having the same order. Now sort by description. When I click on this, based on the description, the item will be sorted. Here I am having C, then we are having E, then R, then U. So based on the description, items will be sorted. And finally, sort by completed task status. When I click on this, whatever tasks are completed, that will be coming here, and whatever tasks are not completed, that will be going at the end. And finally, we are having this clear list. I will click on this. First, I will be having this confirmation message. Are you sure you want to remove the task? If I click on cancel, nothing will be deleted. But if I click on OK, entire list will be deleted and I will be back to my default state. And here I will be having this message. Let's get started. Add your daily task to the list. Again, you have to add the items. You will be getting how many tasks are present, how many tasks you have completed. Entire thing you will be getting again. This project is almost similar to to-do list app, but in this we are going to learn more exciting concepts in React, and also we are going to apply advanced concept, and we will see how to do conditional rendering and how to display different data based on user selection. Let us now see how to install React app. Here I have created one folder, React project. Right click on this, open with code. I will close this welcome panel. Now I am going to open terminal by using the shortcut Ctrl J. Inside this terminal, I will be writing the command to install my React app. So for that, I will write npx create hyphen react hyphen app, and to follow complete tutorial, here you can simply mention at 5, which means I am using 5th version of create react app space. And now here you can give project name. If you're creating correct operation, you can give correct project. If you're creating to-do list, you can give that name. But for me, simply I'm just going to write all underscore projects. Hit enter. Now here it is asking me need to install the following packages. I will just click on S. Now it will be installing all the packages whatever is required to run our React application. Now you can see folder all project is created. Whatever name you have given while installing this React app, that folder name will be created. And for this installation process, you have to wait for some time. Once it is done, you will be having complete file structure to work with. Now successfully, it has installed all the packages and also it has generated me this file structure. Before looking at this file structure, first we have to write this, because now we are inside this React project folder. First I have to come inside this folder. I will copy this command, right click here, command will be pasted. I will hit enter. Now I am inside React project folder, and after that I have to do npm start. Here I will write npm space start. Hit enter. Now it is going to start a development server and the React app will be started. And this is a React app and it is running on this 3000 port. When you click on this, you will be redirected to official documentation of React, which will help you in every step once you started with React. And here we are having this local. This is the link where a React app is running and on your network. So if you're working on laptop and also if you're having your mobile with you and if you're connected with same network, then using this link, you can open the React app inside mobile as well. But you should be working on same network, only then it is going to work. I will decrease the size. I will close this terminal. Now inside this folder, I am having node modules folder, which is very important to run the packages. Inside public folder, we are having fav icon, logo, and we are having multiple files. But only thing is we need index.html. I will just delete this file. And to delete multiple files, just press shift, select all the files, right click and delete. And inside src, we have app.css in which we are having some basic stylings which is given to rotate that logo. I do not need this styling. I will remove. Inside this app.js, we are having lot of content. I'm just going to remove this entire header. Simply, I am having this function component. I will remove this logo because I have deleted that. Inside this, I will write h1. Here I will write hello world. Then I do not need these two files. Right click, delete. Then from here, I will select multiple files and I'm just going to right click, click on delete. Okay, I'm just cleaning the structure. I will come to index.js. From here, I will just clean this. And here I have just rendered app, and inside app.js, simply I have displayed hello world. Again, I will come here. I'm just going to remove this import and also this import, which is importing our index.css. But as of now, I have deleted that. Now you can see this will be the output hello world, and the React app is running in 3000 port. So whatever files are not important, we have just cleared that, and whatever files are important, we have kept and we have added some content inside that. Let us start with daily planner application project, and in this project we will be adding lot of interactivity. But before starting with code, first we should understand how to divide entire design into components. So this is our entire project. Now we will understand how to divide this entire design into different components. So here you can see we are having multiple sections. Accordingly, based on your project requirement, you can divide into component, but this is how I have divided this project. So first I am having this heading. This I have divided as logo component. Then below that, I am having some analytics. So for this, I have given analytics component. Then below that, we are having form. So here, I have given form component. And finally, below this entire thing, I have given as task list. And inside this, we have this task items. So for this also, I have created separate component called task item. Then finally, we are having this footer. If you want to create separate component for this section, then you can proceed with that. But for this project, I have divided my design into 6 components. So this is the logo component, analytics component, form component. Then below that, we are having task list. Inside task list, I am having task item, and this sorting and clear button will be inside this task list component. Then finally, we are having footer. So this will be the structure. We will be having app component, and inside that we are having all these components. So this app is nothing but this is the parent component. So this will be like a wrapper for all the component, and rest these purple components, these are called as children components, and these are the children components of app, and app is the parent component. And this logo, analytics, form, task list and footer, they are called as sibling component. You can also tell components are sibling when they are placed at the same level. So all these components are at the same level, so those are called as sibling components. But here we are having task item. So for this task item, our task list will be the parent component, and this task item will be the child component for our task list. This is the complete overview of component structure. Before starting with any project, You should always divide the project into component so that it will be easy for you to understand parent-child communication and also lot of other things in React. And later on, once you start implementing your project, you can add multiple components, you can remove the components. It completely depends on your project requirement and also personal preference. Let us now start with building the layout. First step, from starter code, you have to copy all the CSS stylings and you have to paste inside app.css. If you don't want to do this styling, then you can give your own styling. But whatever React concept we are going to learn, that is not going to affect if you change the stylings. And inside public folder, we have index.html. Open this, whatever font family you want to use, you have to copy the link from Google Fonts and you have to link it here. And from here, I'm just going to change the title. I will write here Daily Planner App. So let me show you how you will get this link. So just search for Google Font and click on this first link. And here, whatever fonts you want to use in your project, you can type it here, or from here, you can select the option. Let me just open this. Here I will be having this button, Get Font. Click on this. Inside this, you will be having two options. To download all, to get embedded code. I will click on this Get Embedded Code. And from here, you have to copy this link. And inside index.html, you have to link this. Let us start with building a layout. I will come to app.js. Inside this, I will remove the class. Instead, I'm just going to give app-container. And here, I'm just going to uncomment app.css. Now, this is my project. Here, background is given and also font family is changed. Now, we are going to create all the necessary components. First, I'm just going to write function. First component is logo. I will write here logo. I will copy same thing. Then we had analytics. Here I will write analytics. Then below analytics, we had form. I will be writing form. Below form, we had task list. And inside task list, we are having task item. And finally, we have footer. So these are 6 important components which we will be working in this project. First, let us come to logo. Inside this, I am going to write some JSX. I will write here return. Here I will be writing header, and for this header, I will give the class as header section. Inside this, I will be writing h1, and for this, I am just going to give the class as app-title. Here I will write daily planner. Save it. Come to project, refresh this one, nothing happens. Why? Because I have just created the function and I have returned this value, but I have not rendered this logo anywhere. So that is the reason this result will not be displayed. So what I will do, I'm just going to render this logo inside app component because our app is the parent component. I will remove this hello world. How we are going to render? Same like HTML element, we are going to write and directly we are going to make as self-closing element. Save it. Now you can see our logo is displayed. Now I will come to footer section. I will write here return. Inside this, I will be writing footer element and for this, I will give the class as footer section. Inside this, I'm just going to write this entity copy so that I will be getting the symbol. And here I will write created with love by my name and our project name, that is daily planner app. You can give anything inside the footer. Now again I will come here. Inside this nothing is rendered because I have not rendered this footer. Now I will copy below this logo. I'm just going to write this footer component. Close it. Come here. Now you can see I am having footer and also I am having this logo. Now I will come to each of the component and simply I'm just going to write simple heading. For analytics, I will write here return. Inside this, I will write H1. I will copy this. Here I will be pasting. Same thing, copy. Inside form, I will be pasting. Then inside task list, I will be pasting. Inside task item. And from here, I'm just going to change the content. Copy form, paste it here. Copy task list, paste it here. Copy task item and paste it here. Okay, simple enough. You don't have to do anything. Only inside this logo component, I have added some content, and inside this footer, I have added some content. Now inside app, we have to render all this thing. Below logo, what I just want my analytics component. Then below analytics, I want form component. Below form, I want task list. And I do not want to render task item because task item will be inside task list. So I will not render task item here. Then finally, we are having this footer. Save it. Come here. You can see we have analytics, we have form, we have task list, and finally we are having this footer. This is how we have created simple layout. Inside this, we are having 6 components, and inside app, I have rendered all these 5 components. And this task item will be inside task list. So that is the reason I have not rendered this task item inside app. Let us now see how to separate components into different files. And whenever we are working with React, it is all about creating reusable component. And if we are working with only one file, then it is not going to make any sense. So what we will do, whatever components we have created, for each component, we are going to create different file. And also, I will be showing you the trick to separate the components into different files. But always keep in mind, you can work with only one file and you can generate the result, but you have to scroll up and down and it will not be making any sense if you're working with React, because React is all about splitting components and working with different files and having proper file structure. So here, this is our final result. Even after separating the component, at the end, I should be having this result. So let us see. I will come here. Inside app.js, I am having this logo function. I am just going to cut this logo from here. Control B, and inside src, I will be creating one file logo.js. And inside this, I will be pasting this logo. I will come to app.js. As soon as I save, I will be having this error. Logo is not defined because from app.js, I have removed logo component. But here inside this, I am rendering logo. So what I have to do? To use this logo inside app, first I have to export logo. In two ways we can export. Either we can do default export or we can do name export. But in React environment, mostly we will be doing default export. So here I will write export default. Okay, that's it. Export default function name. I have just exported my logo. Now here inside app.js, I am using this logo component. So I have to import this logo. Here I will write import. Then I am just going to write this logo. Here I will be having /logo. As soon as I click on this, it will be imported from logo.js file. Now save it. You can see that error will be gone and I am having this logo. So what I have done, I have just copied entire logo component function. I have created separate file and I have pasted entire logo function here and I have done default export and finally I am importing inside logo. If I do not import, I will not be able to render this logo. Okay, this is the first step. By yourself, manually you have to create the file and you have to paste the code. Now I will be showing you the easiest way. Close this logo. Just select this entire analytics function, right click, and here you will be having this refactor option. Click on this. Here you have to click on move to a new file. As soon as you click on this, analytics function will be gone from here. You can see this analytics is imported, but here we are having different syntax while importing this analytics, and automatically this analytics.js file will be created, and inside this whatever function we have selected, that function will be given, and here we are having this export keyword, and inside app.js we already have this import, but here this has done named export. This has not done default export. So that is the reason this name is wrapped inside this curly braces. So what I will do, I will just write here default. And from app.js, first let me save. And here I will be removing this curly braces. Okay, you have to do only two changes. Now you can see still I am having my analytics. I have just refactor. I have written this default keyword and I have removed the curly braces. That's it. Close this analytics. Just focus on this left side. Form.js will be created. Select this function. Right click. Refactor. Move to a new file. Form.js is created. Come here. Add default. Save it. And from app.js, you have to remove this curly braces. Save it. Again, we are having this result. Same thing you have to do for this task list. Copy, right click, refactor, move to new file, open this task list. Here write default and from app.js remove this curly braces. Now I will select this task item, refactor, move to a new file, task item.js is created. Now if you see here, for this I am not having export keyword. Why? Because inside app.js, inside this component, I have not rendered task item. So that is the reason it has not exported. But in future, I am going to use this task item. So still, I will be using export default. Then last thing, we are having footer. Select this, right click, refactor, move to a new file. Footer.js is created. Here I will be writing default. And from app.js, I'm just going to remove this curly braces. Save it. Now you can see I am having the same result. Even after separating the components into different files, I am having the same result. And this is very important. You should understand, if you work in only one file, you will be having lot of code and up and down you have to scroll. But from starting itself, if you're having proper file structure, then it will be easy for you to manage this, and also it will be easy for you to practice and create your own file structure. But now what I want, all these are called as components. So what I will do, in real world project, inside SRC, we will be creating one folder called components, and inside this we will be pushing all the components. Analytics, press Ctrl key, select app.js, select this footer, form, I do not want to select index.js because it is not the component. Logo, task item and task list. This entire thing I'm just going to move inside this components folder. Now here I will be having, are you sure you want to move these 7 files into components? I will just click on move. You can see this has moved. Now I will come to app.js. Now this app.js is present at the same level. So this entire imports will be working. But here if I come, I will be having some errors. Why? Because inside index.js, we are rendering app component, but now this app component is present inside components folder. So I have to change the path. Here I will be writing dot slash inside components I am having app. First error is gone. Now I will come to app.js. Inside this, I have imported app.css. But this app.css is now present outside of this components folder. So I have to come outside of this component folder. Then I have to render this app.css. So you simply have to write 2 dots slash app.css. Save it. Now if you see, we will be having the same result. So this is how we are going to separate components into different files and we are going to create proper file structure. Once you have this file structure, then easily you can start writing the code. Let us now see how to render task list. And when it comes to rendering list in React, it is one of the most common tasks you will be doing in almost all the React projects. And it will be like a recipe. You have to follow the same steps. First step, I'm just going to close all the files. Now inside this components, I will be working on task list. So I will just open this task list.js, Control B, close the left panel. First, what I will do, I will create array of object. I will write here const data is equal to, I will be creating array and inside this, I will be passing this object and one object describes one task. So inside this, I should be having the ID. I will give it as 1. Then we have description. Description I will write record videos. Then quantity I will write here 2. And finally, I should be having one property completed. Initially, no tasks are completed. So initial value, I'm just going to give it as false. So this is my first task. I will separate by comma. Copy the same thing. Below this, I'm going to paste. Here I will give ID 2. Here I will write edit videos, quantity 3. And initially, I'm just going to set it to false. So what I have done, I have just created 2 tasks and one object will be representing one task. And I have wrapped this inside array. So this is my first task and this is my second task. Now what I want to do, I just want to render this list in my UI. I will remove this H1. Let me increase the size. Here I am just going to write the JSX. I will write section and for this I will give the class as list-section. Inside this I will create UL because I have to render the list. So I will be using this unordered list. Inside this I will write to-do list. Inside this UL I want li. For this I will give the class as to-do-item. Then for each li, when my list is rendered, I want checkbox, I want quantity, description, and finally I want the cross symbol. So here I will be writing input with the type checkbox. And for this, I will give the class name as to do checkbox. To do -checkbox. Simple. Come here, you can see here I am having my li. Inside this I am having this checkbox. Below that I will be creating span And for this, I will give the class as to do text, to do hyphen text. Then here I have to display the quantity. Let me just display 2. And after space, I have to give description. Here I will write upload videos. Save it. Come here. Now you can see after checkbox, I am having quantity and also description is displayed. Then finally, I want one button with cross symbol. Here I will write button, and for this I will give the class as remove hyphen btn. Inside this you can use the icon, but as of now I will be writing X. Save it. Come here. Now you can see this cross is displayed. Successfully we have rendered this dummy data. Now what I want, whatever data I am having here, I just want to render that data here. So this entire list I want to repeat multiple times. So this entire list I'm just going to wrap inside curly braces. Why curly braces? Because now using map method we are going to render the list. So that is the reason we have entered inside JavaScript mode. I will come down. I will write my array name data.map. Inside this map I will be passing callback function, and here I will give the name as item. And here I will open this parenthesis. Inside parenthesis, I will copy this entire list, cut it from here, and inside this I will be pasting. Save it. Now come here. Now you can see 2 times I am having this list item. Why? Because I am having 2 items here. So using this map method, first time this item will be the entire object. So first time it is going to render. Second time this item will be the second object. So second time it is going to render. If I am having multiple objects here, that many times this list will be rendered. Let me remove. So here inside this we are having the first task in which I am having ID, description, quantity and completed status. So what I have done, I have just rendered using map method. And first time this item is the complete object. So what I will do, in place of this to remove this. Now my item is the object. Again I have to enter into JavaScript mode. I will write item, and to access properties from object, we have to write dot operator, and here I will write quantity. Then I will remove this entire thing. Curly braces, item is the object. From there I have to access description. Okay, exact same property name you have to write. Now save it. Now you can see, now I am having record videos and I am having edit videos, and for this quantity is 2 and for this quantity is 3. Whatever I have given, successfully I am able to render that data. But here this li will be repeating multiple times. So what I will do, I will be creating separate component for this. I will copy this, cut from here, and in place of this I will be using my task item. I will close this task item, and once I have rendered this, I have to import task item. Here I will write import task item. From here I will be writing file name task item. Now I am going to open this task item. Inside this return, I am just going to paste that code what I have copied. Save it. Now I will come here. In this I will be having item is not defined. Why? Because inside task list I am having this data and I have used map method, and here I am having item data present inside this task list. But inside this task item, nowhere I am having this item. So that is the reason I am having that item is not defined error. But you should understand this recipe. This is how we are going to render the list. If we are having any data, Using this map method, simply we can render entire item. Later, we are going to fix the error, but before that, you should completely understand how to render list inside React, because as I mentioned, it is one of the key concepts in almost all the application of React. We will always deal with rendering list items. Let us now see how to pass props. And this was our component structure. Now let us focus on task list and task item. So inside this, our task list is the parent component and task item is the child component. Now our data is present inside parent component. Now what I want, whatever data I am having inside parent component, I just want that data inside child component. So for that, we are going to use props. And props is the shortcut for property. And using props, we can flow the data in only one direction. So if the data is present inside parent component, only that data can be passed through child component. From child component, I cannot pass any data to parent component. So data can only be passed from parent to child component. In other way round, it is not possible. And this is the error we have encountered inside this task item.js. Item is not defined. Item is not defined. Why? Because this item is present inside parent component, that is task list. Now what I want to do, whatever data I am having inside parent, I just want to pass inside child component, and that can be done using props. So how we will pass props here? And this is similar to passing custom attributes. Here I will give the prop name as item equal to, you can give any name. Inside this curly braces, I am just going to pass this item. This name, this value has to be exactly matching with this one, but this prop name you can give anything. But this is the convention we follow. Now what I have done, this item data I have passed inside this child component as a prop. Save it, come here, but still I am having this error. Item is not defined. But here I have given item to child, but still that error has not gone. Why? Because I have only passed this prop, but I have not received the prop inside task item.js. So what I will do, here I will be writing props. Below this, first let me log props, save it, and from here I will remove this entire thing. As of now, I will write 1. I will come here, refresh once, inspect, come to console. Now inside this, if you see, my prop is nothing but it is an object. Inside that, I am having item property. Inside item property, I am having this entire value. So what I can do, I can easily destructure. Without destructuring, how we have to display the value, let me show you. Now here, first I have to write my props object. Inside props, I am having item. Inside item, I am having quantity. You can see inside props, I have item. Inside item, I am having quantity. Same thing for description. Inside props, I am having item. Inside item, I am having description. Now save it. Now you can see successfully I am able to display this result. That error has gone. Item is not defined. But what we can do, directly we can destructure this. So here I will write curly braces, and inside this I will be passing item. So exact same value I am just going to pass. This one, whatever property we are having, exact same thing I will be passing it here when I am destructuring. I will remove this. Now I do not want props. Directly from item I am accessing this quantity, and here directly from item I am accessing description. If I log item, Save it. Now you can see I am having the result. Let me refresh once. You can see inside this item, I am having this entire object, and directly from item, I am accessing description and quantity. So in middle, I do not want any props object. So you can simply tell prop is an object which can be passed from parent component to child component. I will close this. Now successfully I am able to get the list. But what I want, I will just come to task list, and here I will just make this completed as true. Once I make this completed as true, what I want, I just want to strike through this description. So for that, conditionally, we are going to render the class name, and my description is present inside task item.js, and this is my entire description. What I will do, this entire thing, I'm just going to wrap inside JavaScript mode. Here, I will be writing curly braces. I will remove this double quotes. Instead, I'm just going to wrap entire thing inside this backticks. Once it is done, now I will be checking for the condition. If my item dot completed, item is nothing but item object. From that object, I'm just accessing this completed property. If this item dot completed is true, then what I want, I just want to give the class as stripe. If it is false, then I do not want to render any class. Only thing, I will be having this to do text class. Now save it. Come here. Now you can see for second I have given completed as true. So that is the reason I am having different styling. Now I will copy this class. Control B. Open this app.css, and inside this you can see for this class I have given text decoration as line true. So that is the reason that styling has applied, and I will be having this result. Simple enough. Conditionally, we are rendering this class. If this condition is true, then give this class. If this condition is false, then display nothing. Let us start working with our form component, and in this we are going to create structure of our form. And one of the most important thing inside the web is to interact with the web application using forms. And forms is one of the most important concept. So you should understand how to deal with the forms in web application. So first we are going to create the form structure using simple HTML form element. Now we are going to work on form component. I will close this task list, Control B, and I will open this form.js. Inside this, I will remove h1. In place of this, I will write div, and for this, I will give the class as input-section. Inside this, I will be creating the form. I do not need this action attribute. Remove it. Inside this form, first, I just want select field. I will write select, and for this, I will give the class as priority select. And I do not need this name and ID. I will remove. Inside this select, I will be creating option, and for this value, instead of passing string, I will be passing the number. So for number, what we have to do? Again, we have to enter into JavaScript mode, and here I will be writing 1. So I am going to pass actual number, not the string. Here I will write 1. Copy paste. I will write 2. Here also I will write 2. Then I will give 3, and inside this I will be passing 3. Save it. Now you can see here I am having this select field. Then below this select field, I will come down. I will write here input, and for this type will be text, and for this I will be giving the class. Here I will write class name is equal to do hyphen input, And after that, I will be giving the placeholder is equal to add new task. Save it. Come here. Now after this select field, I am having this input field and also placeholder is displayed. And finally, after this, I want one button. So here below this input field, I will be creating regular button, and for this I will give the class as add btn. Inside this, I will write the text as add. Save it. Come here. Now you can see successfully we have created this form component. Inside this, I am having select field, I am having this input field, and finally I am having this button. But now inside this select field, instead of 3 numbers, I want to display 30 numbers as we have seen in our project demo. So here I will come. Again, what I have to do, I have to copy paste 30 times, and each time I have to change the value. So this is very bad practice. What we are doing, we are reducing the performance of our code, and also multiple times we are repeating the same code. Now I'll save this. If you change the value accordingly, the result will be displayed. Now let us see how to render dynamic numbers. So here what I have done, I have just duplicated the code which will be reducing performance, and also it will not look good. Maybe in future I want 100 numbers. So 100 times I cannot copy and paste. I will remove this entire thing, and also I do not want this second and third. I will remove. I want only one option field. So first let us see how to create this dynamic number. Right click. I will click on inspect. I will come to console. Clear. I will increase the size of console. Now inside this, what we will do, we will be using array.from method. And this array.from is a method in JavaScript using which we can create new shallow copied array. And this is the syntax. Here I will be writing array.from. Now what I just want to create new array. Inside that, I want the values from 1 to 5. I will open curly braces. First, we have to pass iterable. Inside this, inside curly braces, I'm just going to give length. How many values I want? I want 5 values. So I will be passing length colon 5. Close this curly brace. Then here I'm going to pass second parameter, and inside this first value I do not need, but here I will be passing index. And after that I will be closing this array.from. Now what I want, whatever length I am having, and initial value of I will be 0. I just want to create a new array with the value starting from 1 to 5. So this will be similar to callback function. You can see here we are having this map function, and after that I will be writing arrow symbol, and my array should be having the values 1 to 5, and initial value of I is 0. So I will be adding 1. Now here I am having empty object because my spelling is wrong. Let me change the spelling. Now you can see inside this I am having 1 to 5 elements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because I have given length as 5, each time it is iterating. 0 plus 1, 1 will be displayed. 1 plus 1, 2, and it keeps on going. Now if I want 20 elements inside the array, simply I have to pass length as 20, and I will be having 20 elements inside the array. Then if I want 30, same thing, I have to write 30, and I will be having 30 elements inside the array. So using this array.from, what we have generated array, and inside that we are having all the values for whatever length we have specified. So this is the syntax. Now we are going to implement to generate this dynamic numbers. This entire thing I'm just going to wrap inside JavaScript mode. So I will be writing curly braces. I will come down here. I'm just going to write array dot from same syntax. Inside this, I will be passing length. How many numbers I want? I want 30 numbers. So I will pass the length as 30. Separate by comma. And inside the second parameter, first argument I do not need. But second, I will be passing I. Then I have to iterate through this. So here I will be writing I plus 1. So what it will do? It is going to generate me new array. Now for this array, I have to iterate and I have to display all the values inside this option. So how we can loop? Using this map method, I can loop through all the values inside the array. And this map method will be taking callback function. Here I will be writing num. Then arrow symbol. Open this parenthesis. Inside this copy option and here I will be pasting. Now in place of this, I will just copy this num. First time it will be 1 and here I will display that num. Simple enough. You don't have to do any fancy thing. You simply have to write this. First time num will be 1, 1 will be given, 1 will be displayed. Second iteration num will be 2, so 2 will be displayed. Third iteration num will be 3, 3 will be displayed, and it keeps on going and it will be generating 30 numbers because we have given length as 30. Save it. Come here. Now here when I click on this, you can see 30 numbers are generated. So each and every time I do not have to copy paste this option. Instead, I can follow this syntax and I can display the result. It is not only helpful in this situation if you want to display ratings. So there you will be having 5 stars. So in that situation also you can use the concept and you can display the rating. Now here I will inspect. Inside this we will be having one warning. We have to use unique key prop. So whenever we are using this map method, we should pass unique key prop. So here inside option, I will be writing key and unique values are nothing but numbers. So I will be passing num. You can pass any unique data. Inside this, my unique data is number itself. So I have passed num. Save. Come here. Refresh this one. That error has gone. Let us now understand one of the most important concept whenever we are dealing with form, that is control elements. And once you understand these control elements, you will be able to work with any kind of form. So inside form.js, we have already created the form. Inside this, we have this select field, we have this input field. So by default, this select field and input field, they will be maintaining their own state inside the DOM. But now we are working with React. So we do not want to maintain the state inside the DOM. What we want to do, whatever changes we are doing, we just want to maintain that changes inside the React application itself. That is inside one central place, that is our React application. We do not want to maintain the state inside the DOM. We do not want to touch the DOM itself. So whatever changes we are going to do inside this input field or this select field, we want to maintain that state inside React. So that technique of maintaining the state inside the React is called as controlled elements. Using this technique, React will control and own the state of this input field, and no longer the state will be maintained inside the DOM. And whenever I type something inside this input field, what we are doing, each and every time we are changing the data. So we want to maintain our application in such a way that our data and entire thing has to be synced. So to implement this control element technique, we are going to follow three steps. First, we are going to create piece of state. Then we are going to use piece of state. And then finally, we are going to control that piece of state. So first step, we are going to create our state. Inside form.js, above this return, I will be writing const. And here I am having this input field for description. First, let me just log my state. I will write here log. Inside this, I will be passing use state. As soon as I hit enter, use state got imported from React library. I will inspect, come to console. So here, use state is nothing but it is a function which will be returning array. Here I am having 0th index and at first index I am having this function. So what I will do, this is array. I am just going to destructure this array. I will come here, but inside this, let me pass here hello. Save, come here. Now you can see inside this array, at 0th index, I am having hello and at first index, I am having this function. So this function will be used to update this value. So what I will do, I am just going to destructure. I will copy the same line, remove this. In place of this, I will write here const. First value, I am just going to write description. Then our setter function, we will always start with set. You can give any name. Here I will write set description will be equal to this use state. Now this hello will be assigned to this description. Let me log description. Save it. Come here. Come down. You can see now my description value is hello. So this is nothing but default value. So what we have done, we have implemented our first step, that is creating the state. Initially, I do not want any value. I will remove this hello and I will keep it as empty. Now, what we have to do? We should do the second step. That is, we have to use this state. Inside this input field, we have one value attribute. Here I will write value. Inside this, I will write React. Save it. Come here. Close it. Now inside this, you can see React is displayed. But now when I'm using this, what happens? Our DOM is controlling this. But what I want, we want a React to control and own this state. So instead of this, I will remove. I'm just going to use my state. Here I will be writing description. Whatever state we have created, the default value, I am passing it here. Just save it. Come here. Nothing is displayed because default value of description is empty. Here I will give some value. Save it. Now that value will be displayed here. So we have implemented the second step, that is using our state. But now if I start typing here, nothing will be reflected. Why? Because inside this use state, I have given default value as empty string. And whenever I type something in this input field, nothing is going to change. Why? Because if I start typing, what I am doing, I am changing the state value. So what I have to do, I have to follow the third step, that is controlling that element. How we can control? By updating our state. And inside this input fields, whenever change happens, our on change event will be fired. So here we are going to write on change. And inside this, we will be passing our event object. Here, let me just write log. Here I will write e.target.value. I just want to display the value. I will remove semicolon. Save it. Simply inside this on change, I have passed this callback function and I am just displaying this e dot target dot value. I will come here, again inspect, come to console, let me clear. Here I will start typing. You can see inside this console, I am able to see these values. But here I am not able to see any value. But successfully, whatever key I have pressed, I am able to get that key in my console. Now what I want to do, each and every time when I start typing, I have to update that state. So for updating, we have to use this setter function. Copy this. In place of this console.log, I'm just going to paste that setter function. Now I will come here, refresh this. Now I'm just going to type here. You can see successfully I'm able to type the result. Why? Because each and every time when I start typing, this on change event will be fired off. Once it is fired off, what I am doing, I am just updating my state using this event object. So whatever value I am having, I am just updating that value. So for this input field, what we have done, we have made this input field as controlled element. Why? Because we have passed the state and also using state, we are updating the value. So React is controlling this element. Similar to this, we have to control this select field as well. So again, we have to follow the same three steps. First, we have to create the state. Same thing. Let us write from starting. Here I will write const. Initial value, I'm just going to give quantity. Setter function set quantity is equal to use state. Let me give the default value as 10. Now here inside this select field, I will be passing the value and here I will write quantity. Save it. Come here, you can see initially 10 is displayed. Why? Because I have given here 10. Now what I will do, I will just select this 3. Still you can see 10 is displayed. I will select 13. Still 10 is displayed because I have just displayed the quantity. Each and every time when I am changing the value, I am not updating my state. So for that, we have to use this setter function. Same thing again on change. On change, same thing you have to write event. Here I will simply display this e dot target dot value. And from here I will remove this semicolon. Come here, inspect. Inside this console, now here I am having 10 by default. I will select 6, 6 will be displayed, but here it will not be updated. 15, 15 will be displayed, but here it will not be updated. So what I want, whenever something is changing, I want it to update my state. So here again in place of this, I will copy. Here I will be pasting. Save it. Come here. Refresh once. Now you can see I will be changing it to 9. 9 is displayed. I will be changing it to 16. 16 is displayed. So whenever I am changing something, I am updating my state and I am setting this value to e dot target dot value, whatever value I have selected. Okay, successfully it is done. But here inside this option field, what I just want to pass the value as number. But using this e dot target dot value, whatever result we get, that will be in the form of string. Let me show you. I will write here console.log. Inside this, I'm just going to write type of operator and I'm just going to wrap entire thing inside parenthesis. Come here, inspect, come to console. Now I will select any value. You can see type of that value is nothing but string. So what we have to do, whenever we are working with number, this entire value we have to convert to number. We can do in two steps. First, we can simply add plus here. Before this e, I will come here. I will select the value. Now you can see it has changed to number. And most of the time it is not readable. So what we can do, we can wrap this entire thing inside number function. Close it, save, come here. Again I will select it. You can see again the value is converted to number. I will remove this entire thing now, console.log, and in place of this I will be pasting this set quantity. Remove this. Here I will be pasting. From here I'm just going to remove this type of. I will remove its parenthesis. So whenever we are changing the value inside this select field, we are updating the value, and whatever value we are getting, we are just converting that value to number. Save it. Come here. Now you can see successfully I will be able to change this value. So what we have done, we have made this select field as controlled element. Why? Because using the state we are getting the value, and using the state we are updating the value. So let us recap what we have done. Whenever we are working with form, here we will be having some input fields, we will have select fields, we will have text area, we will be having lot of fields inside the form. But whatever changes we are doing, that state will be controlled by DOM. But what we want whenever we are working with React, we want a React application to own and control that state. So for that, we will be using the technique called controlled elements. And for that controlled elements, we are going to follow 3 steps. First, creating the state, then using the state, and then finally controlling the element by updating that state. So this is how we are going to create the state. Once we use the use state, we have to import it. Then from here, we have to pass the value. And finally, whenever we are changing something, we have to call this onChange event handler, and this state updation will be done. Now inside this, I will remove initial value. I'm just going to set it to 1. Save it. Come here. Now initially, I will be having the value 1. Let us now talk about submitting form data, and we will see how to handle on submit event. So here, what I want to do, after filling some data, when I click on add button, the form has to be submitted. Here I will write something. Click on add. You can see it has reloaded the page, and after this I have got slash question mark and the data has gone. But now what I want, I just want to react to this form submission using on submit event handler. So I'll come here inside form.js. Here I am having form. Inside this I will be writing on submit. So when my form is submitted, what I just want to call this function handle submit. Now I'm just going to create this function, copy. Above this return, I'm just going to write function handle submit. When I submit the form, simply I will just display this alert hello. Save it. Come here. I will click on this add button. You can see my form is submitted. As soon as my form is submitted, this on submit event is fired and I am having this alert. But now what I want, whatever values I have entered inside this select field and inside this input field, using those values, my form has to be submitted. I will come to project. I will remove this alert. Before that, here I am just going to write apple. Click on add. Just focus here. Just focus on this reload button. Click on add. You can see the page got refreshed, and also whatever value I have entered, that value has been removed. So what I want, I just want to prevent this reloading of my page, because whenever we are working with React, we will mostly create single page application, which means our page should not be reloading. So what we will do, we are just going to prevent this default behavior of this form. And this preventing default behavior, if you have already worked with vanilla JavaScript, You would have seen whenever we are working with form, we always prevent the default behavior so that our form will not be refreshed and our value will not be disappeared. So it is not part of React. Basically, it is part of JavaScript. So here I will come. Inside this, we have to pass event object. Here I will write e dot prevent default. Save it. Come here. Now I'm just going to write some value. I will write here orange. Now just focus here. I will click on add. Page is not refreshed and also the value is not disappeared. So it is very important whenever we are dealing with form, we should prevent this default behavior. Same thing, instead of using this on submit, whenever I click on this add button, I can execute this function. Let me just remove this on submit. Instead, I will write here on click. Here I will be passing that handle submit. Save it. Come here. Refresh once. Now here I will write apple. Click on add. You can see same thing. My form will not be refreshed and I am having this value. So you can either use this on click or you can use the on submit event handler. But whenever we are working with form, we always use on submit event handler and that event will be fired as soon as a form is submitted. And the basic difference is using this on click here, I will hit enter, nothing happens. Let me remove this. Here I will be writing some value. I will write grapes. Hit enter, form is not submitted. But same thing, if I use on submit event handler, using enter key also, our form will be submitted. So whenever we are dealing with form, don't use this on click on buttons. Instead, use on submit event handler. So inside this form, we will be passing on submit event handler. Then here I will be calling this function. And basically this function will only be called when our form is being submitted. Directly do not call the function in this way. It is going to give wrong result. Why? Because immediately it will call the function. But what I want, only when my form is submitted, I want to call this function. So using this on submit event handler, even if I click on add button, our form will be submitted. As well as even if I click enter, then form will be submitted. Now the next question is, how do we get the data which we have inside the select field as well as inside input field? Because once we have this data, only then we can add the list item inside that application. There are multiple ways of accessing the data. So what we will do, we will get the data right from this event object. So here below this, I will write log. I will just display this event object. Come here, right click, inspect, come to console, clear this. Here I will be writing backs. Click on add. Now what I got synthetic base event. I will open. Inside this, we have important property, that is target. Open this. My target is nothing but form. Inside this, I am having select field, input field and button. I will open select. Here inside this, I am having all the options. I will just come down. Now I am just going to open input field. Here I am having value. When I click on this, whatever value I have typed here, successfully I am able to get that value. I will just come on top. I will open this option. You can see inside this value is 1. So whatever value I am having, that value will be displayed. So successfully using this event object, we are able to access the value. So using this event object, we are able to get these values. But now we are working with React. So we are going to use the technique of controlled elements. So what we will do, whatever values I have typed here, using the state, I'm just going to get these values. So whatever values I am having, I'm just going to get these values, and for these values, I will be creating one complete new object. Come here. Below this, I will be writing const new items is equal to, I will be creating the object. Inside this object, what I just want description. Write the description. Then I want quantity. I will be writing it here. And for this description, default, I will write hello. Save it. And here I will make it as 10. Below this, I'm just going to log this new item. Save. Come here. Now in my console, let me clear. I'm having default value as 10 and hello. As soon as I click on add button, you can see form is submitted. Inside description, I am having hello, and inside quantity, I am having 10. From where I am getting these values? Because for this, I have created this new object. Whenever my form is being submitted, I am just handling that values. I have created the new object, and inside description, I will be storing this value, and inside quantity, I will be storing this value. I will make it as empty string, and default I will set as 1. Again I will come here, refresh once. Here I will be writing pack bags, and here I will give 9. Click on add. You can see description is pack bags and quantity is 9. So successfully, whatever values I have entered inside this select and input field, I am able to get this value. But when I am adding this item, I just want one more property, that is to check if the task is completed or not. And for each list item, I also want the ID. So here, after this, I'm just going to write completed. Initially, my task will not be completed, so I will set the value as false. I will come here, refresh this. Inside this, I will give some random data. Click on add, description, quantity, and completed is false. And finally, I just want ID. And for each and every item, I want random ID to be generated. So for that, I will be using most popular library which will be used to generate unique IDs. And library is nothing but UUID. Here I will write the comment UUID. So inside this, I will be writing ID. So first, I have to import that library. So same steps you have to follow. Import. Then you will be writing V4. I will just change the name. I will write here UUID V4. V4 as UUID V4. You can give any name. From which library? Inside this, I will pass UUID. So I am just using this UUID library which will be generating unique IDs. So now what I will do? For this ID, I will copy this, whatever value you have given, copy and simply call this function. That's it. You don't have to do anything. Using these two steps, importing the library and using the library, each and every time when I add new item, it is going to generate random unique ID. I will come here, refresh this. Before that, let me remove all the logs. Remove this. I will come here, refresh once. Inside this, I will be writing record. Click on add. You can see I am having description, quantity. By default, completed is false and random ID is generated. Again, when I click on this, for next item, I will be having different ID. Again, when I click, I will be having different ID. Each and every time when I add the new item, I will be having random ID generated. So for that, we are simply using this UUID library. But now the problem is I have not given anything inside the description. And here I click on add. You can see description is empty, quantity is 1, rest everything is set, but my description is empty. I do not want this. If I am not having any description, I just do not want to create any new item. So what we can do? We can simply do early return. So here I can check if I am not having any description. If my description is empty, then simply return. Once we have returned something from function, whatever code we are having below, that will not be executed. Now I'll come here, refresh this without filling any data. If I click on add, you can see new item is not generated. So what we have done early return and we have prevented from creating empty description item. And final last step, what we have to do, now here I'm going to add the item, upload, click on add. I'm having description. Now once I add this successfully, I will be able to create. But after adding whatever data I'm having, that has to be removed. And suppose here I have selected 14. I will click on add. After submitting the form, this input field should be empty. And for this select field, I have to set the default value as 1. So again, what we have to do, same steps. After submitting the form, we just have to update the state. So for updating, for description, I will copy this and default value I will set as empty, and for quantity I will copy and default value I will set as 1. Simple enough. Once I have submitted the form, once I got the details, this description and this quantity, I am setting it to default states. Come here, now refresh. I will give here 16. Right here cut apples. As soon as I click on add, just focus on this select an input field, add. Now it has set to 1 and also this input value is emptied. This is how we are going to work with form. So what I have done, whenever I click on add button, this form has to be submitted. And using this event object, I am just preventing default behavior of form. And after that, using control technique, I am accessing all the values, and whatever value I type inside input field, that values will be stored inside the object. And using this UUID library, I am generating random IDs for each and every item. And once my form is submitted, I am setting description and quantity to its default value. Let us now work on the logic of adding the items. So here inside this form, when I update my select field and also if I update my input field and when I submit the form, I am able to access this data and I am able to display on console. What I want, I just want to render my data on UI. So for that, we are going to create state because we are updating something on user interface. So whenever we are updating something, we have to create state. And whatever data we are having in console, if we want to display that data on UI, for that we should be having piece of state. So again, I will come inside this form.js. Inside this, we have created the state for description and quantity. Below this, I will write here const. Inside this, I will give the state name as items. Then I will give the setter function set items is equal to useState. Now let us think what will be the default value of this state. Before that, let me open this task list. Inside this, if you see, I am having array and inside this, I am having this object. And initially, when I open the application, I do not want any item to be displayed. So here, if I remove this, save. Now here you can see nothing is rendered. Why nothing is rendered? Because my data is empty array. And when I map through this data, no data is there. So that is the reason I am having nothing to display. So in similar way, what I want initially, I do not want any list item. But whatever item I will be adding, that will be added as object. But that object has to be inside array. So initially, my state value will be empty array. Simple enough. Only by using the concept of rendering list, we have given this initial data as empty array. Now below this, I'm just going to create one function. I will write function handle new items. Whatever data we got in console, to handle that data, I have just created this function. And inside this function, I will be passing one parameter item. Now directly, as soon as I submit the form, I have to call this function. Copy, and here as soon as this new item is created, I will call this function with the argument new items. Copy and paste. So let me tell you what happens. Before that, I will write here log. Inside this, I will just display item. Come here, inspect this, open. Now here I will be writing apple. Click on add. You can see I am having description. Entire same object is displayed. Entire value is displayed. Why? Because as soon as my form is submitted, I am calling this function with these new items and I have just passed the parameter and I am just printing that parameter. So this new items object will be passed here and that object I am displaying. Okay, simple enough. I will remove this. But now what I want, if I add multiple items, I just want to add that items as objects inside array. So same pattern, I will do Control B. I will open. If I add first item, that should be added in this way. If I add second item, that should be added in this way. And all the items has to be displayed inside this array. But initially, what I have done, I have just created empty array. Now inside this empty array, one by one, I have to add that object. First, let us see how we should not do. So what I have to do, I have to update the state. For updating, I will copy this setter function. Now inside this, I'm just going to write this callback function. I will be writing items. So what I will do, each and every time, whatever data I am adding, I just want to push inside the array. I will copy. Here I will be pasting. Then what I will do, push. And each and every time, whatever data I am getting, I just want to push inside this set items. So whatever data I am getting from here, that will be passed. And each and every time, I am just pushing that data inside this items. And this items is nothing but initially it will be empty. Next time when I add, this item will be pushed. Next time if I add, this item will be pushed. Below this, I will write log. Inside this, I will be passing item. Come here, refresh this. Now I am just going to write apple. Click on add. Here I am having this object. Now inside this, I am just going to write orange. Click on add. You can see now I will be having items.push is not a function and I will not be having any result. Why? Because using this push, what I am doing, I am just mutating my array. But when we talk about React, React is all about immutability. We cannot change our original array. So instead of pushing the items directly inside the array, what we can do, let me just remove this. Let me keep and I'll just comment this out. So what we will do, first we are going to create copy of our array. So below this, I will be writing set items, that is my setter function. Inside this, I will be passing callback function. So first what I will do, I will make copy of this array. So here I'm just going to write items. So what I have done, I have just made copy of the array. So here using this logic, we have created brand new array. We have to write 3 dots. Using this, we have created brand new array which will contain all the current items. And after that, I should be adding the new item. Current item plus new item. Now I will save it. Below this, let me log. I will log this item. Save. Come here. Inspect. Now here I will be writing A. Add. Data is added. I will be writing B. You can see now I am having this data. I am having A data as well as I am having this B data. First, let me remove this. Again, refresh. Nothing is there. I will be writing AA at this data is present. Then B, this data is present. Then C, this data is present. So each and every time what I am doing, first I am doing copy of the array and after that I am adding new item inside the array. So successfully whatever items I am adding, I am able to get that data on my console. But if we use this concept, we will not be having proper result because each and every time we are mutating our array. But using this, what we have done, first we have just created a brand new array and after that whatever item we are adding, that will be updated inside the array. So here whatever data we got in console, we just want to render on UI. So for that we have created state and initially I have created empty array, and to handle that data I have created the function and I have to display multiple items on UI. So that is the reason in this way I have updated my set items, and once the form is submitted I am calling this function with these new items. Let us now see one of the important concepts of this project, that is lifting state up. And why this concept is important? First, let us understand that. So now here I am having this form. When I add some data, I will write here AA. Click on add. So what happens in my console? I will be having that data. You can see in my console, I am able to get that data. But what I want to render this data on UI. Until now, we are not able to see this data on UI because we have not created any JSX for this data. And using this form component, successfully, we are able to create this new item. But this data has to be rendered inside task list component. I will come here. Inside this task list, you can see we have this UL. Inside that, we are having task item. If I open, in this place, I have to render that data. I have to get the quantity, I have to get this description, and also I have to check whether the task is completed or not. But the goal of this form is to generate the new item, but that new item has to be rendered inside this task list. Once the data is rendered inside this task list, only then we can render that data inside task item and we can display our task on UI. But in this flowchart, let us consider this form and task list. And this form and task list are nothing but they are siblings. And my entire data is present inside the form. So what I want from this form, I just want to transfer all the data inside this task list. And how we can transfer the data from one component to another? By using props. But now the problem is form and task list are siblings, so we cannot pass the data using props. It is not possible at all because props data can only be passed from parent to child component. But form and task list are siblings, so from form I cannot pass any data to task list. So in this case, what we will be using? We will be using the technique called lifting state up. So in this technique, what we will do? First step, we will be finding the common parent. And common parent for form and task list is nothing but our app component. And this app component is parent for both form and task list. So in this, what we will do? First, we are going to find the common parent. And for that common parent, we are going to pass the state. Once the parent is having the state data, then that data can be passed to child component by using props. So from app, I can directly pass the data to task list using props. But inside task list, I am having task item, and basically inside task item, I just want to render my LIs. So again, from task list, I will be passing the data using props. So this is how we are going to lift the state up, and by using props, we will be passing the data from parent to child component. This is the concept you should understand, and most of the time and in simple projects, we will be using this concept. But when you're working with complex project, then in that situation, we will not be using this lifting state up. For that, we can either use context API or you can also use Redux. But for this daily planner app, let us use this concept and implement in our project. I'm just going to open app.js. This is the common parent. I will just keep it here. Now what I want to do, using this form, what I have done, I have just created the new item, but that item has to be rendered inside task list. So what I will do, I'm just going to copy this state, remove it from here. I do not want to display here. I will come to app.js, and inside common parent, I'm just going to paste that state, and I will just import this state. Okay, first step, I will save it. Nothing happens. But as soon as I save the form, I will be having this error. Set items is not defined. Items is not defined. Why? Because inside this form, I am handling this new items function, and inside that I have passed this items, and also I have passed this set items. But now what I have done, whatever new item data I am having, that I have passed to the common parent, that is nothing but app.js. Now this data I am having inside app.js. I will copy this data, and as a prop I will be passing for this task list. So here I will be writing items is equal to my item state. Successfully I have passed the data to my task list. Now I will come to tasklist.js. Inside this, I have to accept that prop, and directly I'm just going to destructure. I will write items. So inside this task list, once I have this data, now in place of this data.map, I have to render that items. And after that, whatever data I'm having, I'm just passing that as a prop. And inside task item, I have already accepted that data. I will come to tasklist.js. Here we are using map method. So each and every time when we are rendering, we have to pass the key. So here I will write key is equal to item.id, because when we added the new item, for each and every item, we have given the ID. So same thing I have passed. So these items will be in the same format. As of now, I do not need this data. I'm just going to delete. Successfully, we have completed the step. But here, still inside this form.js, I am having same error. Why? Because inside form, we have created the function. Inside this function, we are creating new array as well as we are updating our state. And again, this entire data has to be rendered inside task list. So I am just going to copy this entire function, cut it from here, find the common parent, that is nothing but app.js. Below this, I am just pasting this function. Now for this function, I am passing as a prop. Inside this form, I will be writing the prop name as on new items. You can also give the same name as what we have given for function. Inside this, directly I am just going to pass the function. So most of the time, when we are passing the function, we will be using this kind of convention. I will copy the function, and inside this I am going to paste. And why I have pasted this function here? Because we are working with data which we have to render on task list. So that is the reason we have lifted the state up, and entire logic we are writing inside common parent. So now I have passed the prop. I will come to form. Inside this, I have to accept that prop. And here, as soon as I submit the form, I am calling this function, but for this function, I have given this prop name. So I'll copy. In place of this function, I'm just going to pass this prop name. As soon as I save, you can see that error has gone. Now here, I will be adding apple. Click on add. You can see successfully I am able to render this data. I am having checkbox. Quantity is not displayed. Description is not displayed. But successfully I am able to render this list. Let us see here. So here we have to pass items. Save it. Come here. Refresh once. I will be adding apple. Add. Now you can see I am having quantity as well as description is displayed. Because what we have done, in place of items, I have just passed the item. So that is the reason we are not able to generate the result. But using this, what we have done, we have created the copy of array, and inside that we are adding new item. So let us revise what we have done. So whatever data we have written inside this form.js, that data has to be rendered inside task list. So we have found the common parent and we have moved the state there. And this entire logic we have written inside app.js. And inside this, we are updating our state, and this state is present inside this app component. So that is the reason this function has to be passed as a prop for this form component, and this items has to be passed as a prop for this task list. Once I am having this data, I have to accept that prop, and instead of that data, I have to render these items. And inside this task list, we have already accepted this item, and each and every time when I add, based on the data, I will be having this result. Now here, I will be adding mango. I will select 6, add. You can see successfully I am able to render this data on UI. So you should remember, this form is only responsible for creating new items. It cannot render any items on UI. It is only responsible for creating new items. So this is the new item we have got, and using this, what we are doing, we are creating new item inside this form component. But our state is present inside app.js. So that is the reason we have created the function here, and that function we have passed as a prop. And inside this form, once our form is submitted, we are just creating the new item and we are generating array of object. Once we are having array of object, inside this task list, we have already accepted our prop and we are just rendering a list using that prop. Below this, I will write here log. Inside this, I'm just going to write items. Save it, refresh, inspect, console, and here I will be writing apple, add. Now you can see inside this array of object I am having this. Then I will be writing mango, add. I will come down. You can see now I am having apple as well as I am having mango. Successfully I have created this kind of result. So once I am having array of object, using this map method, I can just loop through all the object and I can display that li. So first time this item will be the first object that is passed, and inside this task item li will be displayed. Second time this item will be second object that is passed. Inside this task item second object will be displayed. I will just remove this, and from here I'm just going to remove. Let us now see how to delete task item. So what I want to do, whenever I click on this cross symbol, this entire list item I just want to remove from UI, and also I want to update my state. But now when we click, nothing happens. And this list item is present inside task item component, but our state is present inside app component. So again, we have to use the same technique, lifting the state up. I will come here. I will come to app.js. Now we do not need form.js. I will be closing. Inside app.js, I will be creating this function. I will write here function. Inside this, I will give the function name as handle delete item. And here, whatever cross I click, I just want to know ID of that item. So here, I will be passing one parameter item ID. And below this, I will simply log this item ID. Now what I will do, this function I will be passing as prop to its child. And child is nothing but task list. I will copy, and here inside this I will be writing on delete item. Here I'm just going to pass the function. So successfully this function I have passed as a prop, and inside this prop we can pass functions as well. Now I have to accept the prop inside this task list. I will copy, I will come to task list, and here I'm just going to pass that prop. But this cross is present inside this task item, and when I click on this cross, only then I have to delete the item. So again, once I have this data with parent, again this data I have to pass inside this task item. So here I will be writing this on delete item. Again I will copy, inside this I will be pasting, and directly I'm just going to pass this value. We can also give the same name. We will not be having any issues. Finally, I will come to task item, and inside this I will be accepting this prop. And whenever I click on this button, only then this function has to be called. So here for this I will be adding on click. Inside this I'm just going to pass this prop. But if I pass here, nothing happens. And if I do this, event will be generated. Let me show you. I will save it. Inspect this. Let me clear. When I click on this, you can see I am having this synthetic base event because no click happened. So that is the reason my event is generated. But what I want, once this function is called, whatever ID that item is having, I just want to get that ID. So what I will do, I will be passing this function as a value. I will pass callback function. Inside this function, I will be writing item.id. Simple. So using this item, I will be having description, quantity, ID and completed status. So here, while calling this function, for each and every item, we will be having the ID. So I am just passing the ID. Directly, if you do not call this one, function will be called immediately. But what I want, this function has to be called only when click happens. So here I have passed the ID. Once I click on this function will be called, which is present inside app.js. And whatever ID that item is having, that has to be displayed on console. Come here, refresh this. I will be adding new item. I will write here pack back, add. I will just click on this cross. You can see whatever ID this item is having, successfully I am able to get this ID. Now using this ID, we are going to delete this item from UI, and also we are going to update our state. So here I will remove this. Let me just keep this one. And first let us write the logic. For updating the state, we have to use this setter function paste. Once we delete the item, we have to remove that item from the array, and we have to create new array. So here inside this, I will be passing my items. Then I will be using this callback function, and inside this array, I will be using filter method. So using this filter method, we can easily check the condition, and whatever condition is true, only that will be present inside new array. If the condition is false, that will not be present inside new array. So here this filter will be taking the callback function. I will write item, and here I am just going to check for the condition. If my item.id, so suppose imagine I am having multiple object. First time it will be the first object, and for that object it is going to check for the ID. If that ID is not equal to whatever ID I have clicked, I will remove one equal to. Then what I have to do? I have to add that item inside the array. Suppose I am having 1, 2 and 3. These are the 3 IDs. Just imagine I have clicked on this ID 3. So first time item ID is 1. It is not equal to 3. Yes, the condition is true. So 1 will be pushed inside the new array. It will come to second ID. Now it is 2. 2 is not equal to 3. Yes, it is. So it will be pushed inside the new array. Then 3. 3 is not equal to 3. The condition fails and it will not be pushed inside the new array. So I am only left with 1 and 2. So in similar way, whatever ID is getting matched, that item I am just going to remove from the array, and whatever conditions are satisfied, I will be pushing that inside the new array. And using this filter method, I have just created a new array. And what I have done, once I have this new array, I am just updating the state using this setter function. And this items is a state object. And this is a state which is nothing but array. And whatever items we are having, we are using filter method and we are looping through all the items. I will save it. Come here. Now I'm just going to click on this. You can see successfully I'm able to remove that item from UI, and also successfully I have updated my state. I will be adding some data. Apple, add. Here I will write 6. Here I will be writing ball. Then I will be writing doll, add. Inside this task list, I just want to print these items. Save it, inspect. Now in my console, you can see I am having 3 objects inside the array. And for each object, I am having this ID. Now here, I am just going to click on this ball. As soon as I click on this, you can see C3, I have got this ID. And from my state, I have removed that object and I am only left with apple and doll. So here I have updated the state as well as I have removed that item from UI. This is how we are going to do child-parent communication by lifting the state up. Just take your time and understand all this concept and practice how to pass the data from parent to child component. Let us now see how to modify items, and in this lecture we will see advanced immutable data handling logic. So here, similar to deleting item, here when I click on this checkbox, what I want this entire item has to be striped. And again, this list item is present inside task item component, but our state is present inside app, because inside that we have to update the property completed. First, initially it will be false. As soon as I check on this, my completed property has to be changed to true. So again, we are going to write the function inside app, and using that function, we are going to update as well as we are going to get the ID of this particular list item for whichever we have checked on this. But here I am able to toggle this. First, let us come to task item. This is our input field, and whenever we are working with input fields and when we are working with form, first we have to make this input field as controlled element. So here I will be passing value is equal to, here I do not have to create any state because inside state we are having property called completed, and using that check on uncheck, I only have to update that completed property. Here I will give item dot completed. Save it. Why I have passed completed? Because Let me show you. Inside this form.js, when we created the item, we have passed completed and initial value I have set as false. Inside this task item, inside value, and I am just passing that initial value that is false. I will be adding one item. If I click on this, I will be able to toggle this. Let me come to form.js and here I will be changing it to true. Save. I have just changed to true. Now I'm just going to add mango. Add. Now you can see initially the completed status is true. I am having this strike for this item. But when I want this strike, only when I click on this, I want the strike. If I just uncheck this, I just want to remove this strike. So first, initially, I'm just going to set to false inside form.js. I will close this. And inside this task item, I have just made this input field as control element by passing this value. Now I have to update the state. So I have to come inside app.js because our state is present inside app.js. Below this, I will be creating function. Here I will write handle toggle item. And again inside this, I have to pass item ID because I should know for what list item I am just toggling that checkbox. And here I will write item ID. Save it. Now this function I have to pass as a prop. So this is my task list and inside this I will write on toggle item is equal to I will be passing this function. So this is my prop. Then once I pass the prop, I have to accept the prop inside tasklist.js. I am accepting the prop. Now inside this task item, I will be passing this prop. I will give the same name. Then I will be passing this prop. Once I pass the prop, then inside task item, I have to accept this prop. Here I will be writing. And now this is my controlled element. So what I have to do? I have to use onChange event handler. Whenever I am changing something, I have to execute or I have to call this function. So here I will be writing onChange and inside this we have to pass function value. Directly we cannot call the function. Instead we have to call in this way. Only when this event is fired, I want to call this function. Here I will paste the function and inside this I will be passing item.id. So whatever ID that item is having, I am passing and inside this function and I am just displaying that ID. I will come here, inspect this. So for this, I am just going to check. You can see successfully I am able to get the ID. For this, I am going to check. I am able to get the ID of this list item. Now what I want to do, whenever I check on this, that completed property value, I just want to change to true. Once it is true, I just want to give this styling. And that styling we have already rendered inside task item. If my item dot completed is true, then give this class or else do not give anything. Now inside this function, we are going to write the logic. And this concept will be little bit tricky to understand. But once you understand, you will be able to handle advanced immutable function handling. So what I have to do, whenever I check on that, I have to update my state. And inside this state, what properties I am having? I am having ID, I am having description, I am having completed, and finally, I am having ID. So these are the data present inside one list item. And this will be passed as one object inside the array. So here this has to be quantity. Now what I want, whenever I am updating the state, I do not want to update this entire object. Instead, I just want to update this one property, that is completed property. Whenever I check on the checkbox, if I am having true, I have to change to false. If I am having false, I have to change to true. So here I will be writing set items. Inside this, I will be passing my array items, callback function. Now what I have to do? I have to loop through all the element, and in final I should be having the same length. Now what I want to do? I just want to loop through all the items present inside the array, and at the end my new array should also be having the same length as my previous array. So here what method we have to use? We have to use map method. Inside this I will be writing items array dot map. Inside this I am going to pass callback function item. Then here I will be writing arrow symbol. So this is my items array, and on this I am using map method. First time it will be taking first object, second time it will be taking second object, third time it will be taking third object, and it keeps on going. Now inside this we are going to write our entire logic. First, from first object I will access the ID. If my item ID is equal to the ID which I have checked, I will copy. If it is equal to this ID, then inside this object, what I will do? First, I am going to copy entire object. So here I will be writing item. So first time, this will be the first object. I am just copying entire object. After copying this object, what I will do? In this object, I will access this completed property. If it is true, I have to change to false. If it is false, I have to change to true. So here I will be writing not item dot completed. If my item dot completed is true, using this not, I will be changing it to false. If my item dot completed is false, using this not, I am just changing it to true. If this condition is true, only then I am updating this completed property. Else, what I will do? I just want to return this complete object as it is. I do not want to change anything. Let me explain you first. Here I have given object. Inside this I am having this all these values copy. Here I will be pasting quantity 1. I will give the description AAA. Then I will give completed as true. Then ID I will just give some random number. Copy paste. Here I will be giving BBB. Then here I will give false. Quantity I will give 2, and ID I will give 14. So here imagine I am having two items with this data, and this is nothing but array of object. Okay, simple enough. So what I am doing, whenever I am checking on that checkbox, I am accessing the ID. Suppose imagine I have checked on this 14. I have accessed the ID of 14. So inside the set items, I am looping through this entire array. And inside this array, I am having two objects. First object and second object. So first time, this item will be the first object. It will come inside this. My item.id, it is nothing but 12. 12 is equal to 14 because I have clicked on this ID. 12 is equal to 14. The condition fails. I will come inside this else part. This entire object will be displayed as it is. Now second time, this item will be the second object. So second object will be passed here. Item.id is 14 and my click ID is also 14. 14 is equal to 14. Yes, it is. So what I have done, I have copied this entire object as it is. And from this object, only thing I am changing is this completed property. So here using this item dot completed, I will be having false. Not a false will be true. Once I am having true, that item will be striped. And using this map method, My final array will also be having the same length as my original array. I will remove this, save. Now I will come here, close it, refresh once. I will be adding items. I will write here apple. Now I'm just going to add banana, add. I will check on this. You can see successfully I am able to apply that styling and I got the styling as line through. Successfully I am able to apply this styling, and when I click on this delete, that is also going to work. This is how child parent communication will be working. And for simple project, and if we are having one or two components and from one component to another component, if we want to pass this data, then we always use this child parent communication concept. Let us now work on analytics component. I will close app.js, task list as well as task item, and I am only going to open analytics.js. I will remove this h1. In place of this, I will be writing section, and for this I will give the class as count-section. Inside this, I will be creating div, and for this I will give the class as count-container. Here I will be creating paragraph. Inside paragraph I want span, and for this span I want the class as count. Here inside paragraph I will write you have, then inside span I will write 4. You have 4 tasks in your list, and then again inside paragraph I will write 4 tasks in your list. Save it. Come here. You can see now I am having you have 4 tasks in your list. I will be giving one space. Come here. After this I will give the space. Now I am having this heading. You have 4 tasks in your list. Then again I will come below this paragraph, and inside this again I will write paragraph. For this I will give the class as packed-info, and inside paragraph I want span, and for this span I will give the class as packed percentage. So now this is my paragraph. Inside this paragraph I will be writing you have completed, you have completed. Just give the dummy data 2, and inside this span I will be giving this parenthesis, and here I will be passing percentage. I will write here 60%. Then again inside this paragraph I will write of your task. I will give one space, save it, come here. You can see you have completed 60% of your task. So successfully I have rendered analytics component, and I have displayed this paragraph, how many tasks I am having, and also how many tasks I have completed. I have simply rendered that data. Let us now work on calculating analytics by using the concept of deriving state. First, let us understand what is derived state. So inside this analytics.js, in this paragraph, I have to display how many tasks I am having. And inside app.js, we have already created the state, and inside this, we will be passing all the items, and using this, we will be updating our items. That is, we are going to update our task. So now what I want to do, this for I have to render on UI based on the task I am having in my list. So for this, instead of creating new state, what I will do, from this state itself, we are going to derive the value, and we will be displaying that value. So this concept is called as deriving state. First, let me show you how you should not do. Again, you don't have to create this state. I will write here num items, set num items is equal to use state. Initially, I will not be having any item, so default value will be 0. And whenever I am adding this new item, I will just copy this and here I will be pasting. Inside this, what I have to do, each and every time when I am adding the item, I have to update this state. Only if I update the state, I will keep this data sync with my application. So this is very bad idea. Let me remove all these consoles because we are already having this data and using that data, we can get the information. Again, for displaying number of tasks I am having, I do not have to create separate state, and each and every time when I am adding the item, I do not have to update this number of item. Again, when I am deleting, I do not have to update this state value. So what we can do, remove this, and also I will be removing. Using this state itself, I can calculate number of items present inside the array. Suppose I have added 2 items. Now I will be having 2 items. How can I get that 2 items? By finding length of the array. So here I will be creating one variable. I will give the variable name as number of tasks is equal to items dot length. Below this, I will display this num task. Save it. Come here. Inspect. Come to console. Refresh once. Now here you can see initially I am having 0 because my length of the array is 0. Now I will simply add some dummy data. Now you can see length is 1. Again I will be adding dummy data. Now you can see length is 2. So based on this number of objects present inside the array, using this length property, I can find number of items present inside my array. But this num task I have to display in this analytics component here. So we can do in two ways. I can pass this num task as a prop, and inside analytics I can receive the prop and I can display this value. But inside this analytics, we should also calculate how many tasks I have completed, and also I have to calculate the percentage. So what we can do, instead of writing here, instead of calculating the length here, I will comment, copy, and directly inside analytics, I'm just going to paste. Inside this analytics, I'm going to calculate. From here, I will also come in this console. But now I will come here. You can see I will be having this error. Items is not defined because inside analytics, I am finding length of my array. But this analytics component is not aware what is this items. So again what I have to do, this items I have to pass as a prop. Because inside analytics we have to calculate many concepts. Once we are having item array with us, we can easily do all the calculation inside analytics component itself. We don't have to do inside parent component. So here I will be writing items, and inside this I'm going to pass items. Save it. I have passed the prop. Now I'm just going to receive the prop. Here I will be writing items. Now save it. You can see successfully I am able to display this result. But now in place of this static data, I just want to display this num task. Remove, open JavaScript mode, paste it here. Now here I am having two items. You can see that 4 has gone. In place of 4, I am having 2. I will refresh the application. Initially, I am not having any item, so length is 0. 0 is displayed. Here I will write record video. Click on add. You have one task in your list. Here I will write upload. Click on add. You have two tasks. Then here I will write edit, click on add. Now you have 3 tasks. So this is called as derived state. If we are already having the information present inside the state, by using that information, we can easily calculate the values and we can display the result. So in this case, we do not have to create new state, and each and every time when we are adding the items and when we are deleting the items, we don't have to update the state, so that we keep that state sync with our application. Easily, whatever information we are having, using that information, we are deriving the state. We are getting the information from that state and we are displaying in our component. Let us see more on derived state and calculate percentage, calculate how many tasks we have completed, and based on the completed status, we are going to see how to display different text. So inside analytics.js, I will close app.js. Inside analytics.js, we are going to calculate how many tasks we have completed. Below this, I will be creating one variable const. Here I will write num completed is equal to, what I will do, inside this array, I will simply check if my completed property is true or false. If it is true, then I just want to get the length of my array. So here I will be writing items, and inside this I will be using filter method. I will pass callback function. So first time, if I am having two object, first time it will be the first object, and inside this object it is just going to check item dot completed. If it is true, then it will be included inside the array. If it is false, then it will not be included inside the array. So whatever items are included inside this new array, I just want to find length of that array. Now save it. Now this num completed, I will copy. In place of this 2, I'm just going to paste that. That's it. Simple. Using this filter method, we are going to loop through this array and we are going to create this new array with this condition. If this condition is true, that item will be present inside the array. If this condition is false, then that item will not be present inside the array. So how many items I am having inside the array? I am just finding length of that new array. And after that, I have just displayed this num completed. Now I'll come here. Initially, I am having 0 because all these values are false. Now I'm just going to check on this first one. You can see you have completed one task, because once I check, item.completed will become true and it will be coming inside the array, and length of that array is 1. So 1 will be displayed here. Now I will check on this. Now I will be having you have completed 2 tasks. Successfully, we have rendered number of items and also we got how many tasks we have completed. Now using these two values, we are going to calculate this percentage. So calculating percentage is very simple. I will come down. Below this, I will be writing const percentage is equal to, I will write this num completed divided by total number of tasks, num task, and this entire thing I'm just going to multiply by 100. I will wrap inside parenthesis. Then I'm just going to multiply with 100. I will copy this percentage, and in place of this I will write JavaScript mode. Inside this I will be pasting percentage. Now here, this is my percentage value. What I just want to round this percentage. So here again, this entire thing I'm going to wrap inside parenthesis, and here I will be writing math.round. Math.round. Save it. Come here. Now you can see I am having 67%. Now I will click on this. Successfully, I have completed all the tasks and I have completed 100%. But uncheck, uncheck, uncheck. Here you can see now I am having 0 tasks completed and here I am having 0%. But I will remove this. I am having 2 tasks in my list. Remove this. And finally, as soon as I remove the last one, I will be having NaN. Why? Because while calculating the percentage, I am using this num completed divided by num task. Now I am not having any items inside the array. So here I will be having num task as 0. And what I am doing? I am just dividing some number with 0. So it will be giving me NaN, that is not a number. So in this case, what I will do? I will just check for the condition. If my num task is greater than 0, only then I have to perform this calculation, or else I have to display 0%. So here I will write the condition. If my num task, if it is greater than 0, then perform all this calculation, else simply display 0. Now save it. Now I am not having NaN. Instead, I am having 0%. I will be adding record. Click on add. Now I am having one task in your list. Click on this. One task is completed. Now I am having 100%. Now even if I remove this, still I will be having 0%. Instead of NaN, what I have done, simply I have displayed 0. But now once I completed all the tasks, I just want to render different message. I do not want to display anything. Instead, I want to display another message. So here I will come inside this count container. This is my container. So this entire thing I'm just going to wrap inside JavaScript mode. And here I will come down. So first what I will do, I will be checking if my percentage, if it is equal to 100, then what I will do, I just want to display different message. Inside this parenthesis, I will be writing paragraph. Here I will write hello. Else I will write parenthesis. I will cut this closing parenthesis and here I will be closing that parenthesis. But here if you see, I am having this error. Why? Because, and when you hover on this, it is telling JSX expression must have one parent element. Now here inside this, I am rendering multiple elements. And we already know whenever we are rendering elements, it should always have one parent. So what I can do, I can use JSX fragment. I will just write here, cut it from here, and below this I will be pasting. That error will be gone. Here I will write, if my percentage is 100, then I have to display this message, or else I have to display all this calculation. Save it. Come here. I will add here apple, and also I am going to add ball. Check on this. 50% is completed. As soon as it becomes 100, hello is displayed. Now in place of this hello, what I just want to display this message. I will remove this. Here I will write awesome job. And here I will be using this emoji star. You have successfully completed your daily task. That's it. And for this paragraph, I will be adding the class as completed. Save it. Come here. Now you can see I am having awesome job. You have successfully completed your daily task. I will remove one. That message will be gone and I will be having this calculation back. Again, I will check on this. 100% is completed. Once my percentage is 100, I am just going to display this message. But now the problem is, if I am not having any items, I do not want to calculate this entire thing. I do not want to display 0. I do not want to display any data here. So instead, I will display another data, and I do not want to calculate anything here. And if I am not having any item, simply I do not want to calculate any of this. So here above this, I will be writing the condition. If my items dot length, if my items dot length is 0, then what I will do? I will write here not. If my items dot length is 0, using this not, I will convert it to true. Once this is true, simply I just want to display another message. Here I will write paragraph. I will write the class as no item. Inside this I will write let's get started emoji, add your daily task to list. If my items dot length is 0, using this not, it becomes true. I will come inside this and this message will be displayed. If I am having some length, suppose I will be having 3, not of 3 is false, I will not come inside this and rest entire calculation will be performed. Now I'll come here, refresh once. Now if I refresh, nothing happens because here simply I am just passing this paragraph. I am not returning anything. So whenever we want to display something, we always have to return. Now this entire thing I will be wrapping inside parenthesis, and here I will be writing return. Save. Come here, you can see initially I am not having any item. So that is the reason I am having this message. Here I will just change this class. I will write capital I. Save it. Now this message will come in the middle. But here as soon as I add the item, this message will be gone. Instead, I will be having this analytics and rest entire thing will be calculated and this item will be displayed. So here what we have done, we have calculated how many tasks we have completed and also we have calculated percentage. And if we are having any items, only then we are going to calculate the percentage, or else simply we are going to display 0. Then finally, we are checking if our percentage is 100, then display this message. If the percentage is not 100, then simply display all these messages. And finally, we are checking if our item's length is 0, then display this message, or else perform all this calculation and based on the condition, render different result. Now we are going to work on sorting the items based on 3 criteria: based on default value, based on description, and based on completed status. Successfully, we have completed all the steps inside analytics.js. I will close it. I'm just going to open tasklist.js, and this is my entire section. Below this, I will be writing div, and for this div, I will give the class as action section. Now here inside this JSX, I am returning 2 elements. So what I have to do, this entire thing I will be wrapping inside this fragment. I will cut, and below this I will be closing that fragment. So using this, what I have rendered my task item, and below this I just want to display that sorting list. So here I will write select field, and inside this I will give a class as sort select. And from here I do not need ID and name, I will remove it. Inside this select, I will be writing 3 options. Here I will write option into 3. And first, inside this, I will give the value as default. It is very important. And here I will write sort by default input. Sort by default input. Then next, here I will write sort by task description. And inside this value, I will pass description. And finally, here I will be writing completed. and here I will write sort by completed task status. Save it. Come here. Now here I am having this input field and all the three options are displayed. Now what I want, inside this items array, we are already having the items. So in whatever value we are selecting, we just have to sort that array. But we should be working with immutable data. So what we will do, for this, we are not going to create the new state. Instead, for this items array itself, we are going to make a copy and accordingly, we are going to sort the items. But before that, we have to make this select field as controlled element. For that, first we have to create the state. Above this return, let me remove this. Here I will write const. I will write sort by, set sort by is equal to use state, and initially I'm just going to pass this value. I will copy this default value. Initial value, I'm just going to give this. Now what I will do, inside this value, I will be passing this state. So this is my select field. Here I will be writing value and I'm just going to pass my state variable. So once we use the state, finally we have to update the state. So whenever I am changing something, here I will be writing on change event handler. Here I will be passing event object. Then each and every time when I am updating something, I have to update my setter function. Inside this I will write e dot target dot value. Save it. Come here. I am having use state is not defined. Let me just import this. Remove this last letter e. Hit enter. Now use state is imported from React library. By default, you can see sort by default input value is present because initial value I have given as default. If I give here description, copy, paste, save it. Now you can see here I am having sort by task description. So whatever value we give here, accordingly data will be displayed. Initially, I just want to display default one. So here I will be writing default. But what I want, I am already having the items inside the array. So to render this sorted array, I do not have to create separate state for default one, separate state for description and separate state for completed status. What we will do, again, we are going to derive the state and using this items array itself, we are going to calculate and we will be sorting the items based on those three criterias. So below this, I will be creating one variable. I will write sorted item. And here I'm just going to check for this condition. If my sort by, if this value is equal to default, initially I have given default. If this is equal to default, then what I will do, I will just copy this variable and I will set this variable to my items array. I have not created any state. Using this state itself, I am deriving the state and I am performing this calculation. And this new array I have just assigned to this variable. Now, whenever I have selected default, instead of rendering these items each and every time, I am just going to loop through this sorted items. So instead of this items dot map, here I will write sorted item because this is the default value. Once I click on this, items has to be sorted in default order. So if my sort by value is default, I have just assigned my complete array to this variable, and when I am looping, instead of looping through this final array, I am just looping through this sorted item array. I will come here, refresh this. I will be adding apple. Then I am just going to add mango. Now by default, I am having this. Even if I click, nothing happens because this is the default sorted order. Now we are going to check for another condition. Below this, I will check if my sort by if my sort by value is equal to description. When I am changing using this set sort by, we are updating the value. When it is changed to description, then what I want to do, instead of changing my original array, what I will do, first I'm just going to make copy of my array. Here I will copy this variable, and this variable, first I will be writing items, and I'm just going to make copy of this array using this slice method. What I have done, I have just created the copy of this array and I have assigned to this variable, because in React we cannot mutate any original data. Then for this we are going to use sort method. Inside this I will be passing callback function. You can see in this way you can pass, but let me show you a comma b, where I will be writing callback function, and the description is nothing but string. And to sort the data in alphabetical order, we are going to use local compare method. And here I will write a dot description dot local compare, and inside this I will pass b dot description. Let me write the proper spelling, description, and here I will write description. So you do not have to worry how this sort will be working, but using this local compare, whatever data we are having, that will be sorted in alphabetical order. I will save it. Come here. I am having apple, mango. I will be adding ball. Click on this, sort by task description. Now you can see here I am having apple, then I am having ball, and after that I am having mango. So using this successfully, we have sorted the item in alphabetical order. Now last thing, we have to sort by completed status. Here I will write if sort by is equal to completed, this value what we have given here, and using this we are changing the value. If this is equal to completed, again I will paste the variable. I will copy my original array using slice method, and this completed is either true or false, and that is nothing but boolean data type. It is not a string, so I do not have to use this local compare directly. I will be using this sort. I will write a comma b callback function. Then inside this I will write a dot completed minus b dot completed. But this is nothing but boolean value. So what we will do, we are just going to convert into number. So this entire thing I have just wrapped inside this number function. I will come here. Inside this I will write record, add. I will write upload, add. Then I will write edit, add. Click on this completed status. Nothing will be changed. Why? Because I have not completed any status. Click on this, check this. Now I will be using sort by completed task. So whatever task is completed, that will be going at the end. And whatever task is not completed, that will be coming here. But in our demo, completed task was here and not completed task was at the end. But this is how we are going to render. Completed task has to be displayed at the end. So now successfully we are able to sort the data by default value. We can sort by description, and finally we can sort by completed task. So this is also the power of derived state. For each and every updation, we don't have to create new state. Instead, whatever state data we are having, from that state itself, we are going to derive the values and we are going to perform this operation. And this is very common feature we will be using in React. Let us see easiest functionality of this entire project, that is clearing list. So first, inside this task list, here Below this select, I will be adding button, and for this button, I will give the class as clear. I will give the text as clear list. Save it. Come here. Now successfully this button is displayed. But now as soon as I click on this clear list, what I want to do, I just want to remove this all the items. So basically I want to remove the items from UI, and also I want to update the state. So here I will come, and the state is present inside app.js, and the state is nothing but this items, okay, this state. So here I will be creating the function. Below this I will write function. Here I will give the function as handle clear list. So inside this, what I will do, as soon as I click on button, I have to update the state to empty array. I will copy this set items. Very easy. Paste, and simply I'm just going to set to empty array. That's it. You don't have to do any calculation here. Now this function I will be passing as a prop to this task list. So here I will write on clear list is equal to pass this function, copy this prop, come inside this task list, and here I will be accepting that prop. Now directly when I click on this button, I have to execute that function. I will write on click, and inside this I will be passing that on clear list prop. I will come here, click on this clear list, just focus on this list items, and this entire thing will also be calculated, and accordingly based on our calculation our message will be displayed. I will click on this clear list. You can see entire list items are cleared, and also I am having this initial state and this message is displayed. But what I want, when I click on this clear list, before deleting all the items, I just want one confirmation message. So for that, we are going to use DOM function, that is window.confirm. And this function is not part of JavaScript. Basically, it is part of web API. So here I will come inside app.js. Inside this function, I will be creating one variable const. I will write confirm clear is equal to window.confirm function. Inside this, I will be passing this message. Are you sure you want to remove task? So inside this, I will be having two options, OK and cancel. Let me comment. I will click on this. You can see OK and cancel. If I click cancel, then value false will be stored inside the variable. If I click OK, value true will be stored inside this variable. So here I will check for the condition. If confirmed clear, if it is true, only then I have to update this array. I will come here. I will be adding new items. Here I will write bags, add. I will give here 7, record videos, add. I will click on this clear list. Now I am having this confirmation message. I will click on cancel. Value false is stored inside this. If this is false, our item will not be emptied. But as soon as I click on OK, value true will be stored inside that confirm clear variable. Once it is true, I am just setting my array to empty array. An entire list is gone, and by default, I am having this message. Successfully, we have completed this entire project. We are able to add the items. Let me add. We are able to add the items. We are able to update the items. We are able to remove the items. We are able to calculate the analytics. We are able to see how much percentage and also how many tasks we have completed. And based on these three criteria, we are able to sort entire list item. And finally, we are able to clear this entire list item. Now, only thing you have to do is you have to practice this concept and understand each and every concept. Once you understand and once you got all the concept without seeing your notes and without seeing the video tutorial, you have to type by yourself. Only then you will be able to build complex projects in React. First of all, congratulate yourself for taking this important step in your learning journey. Completing any project is a significant achievement. Remember, finishing this project will bring you closer to your goals and enhance your skill. And to become even more better, you have to follow these four steps. First step, practice. Second step, practice. Third step, practice. And finally, fourth step, you have to implement it by yourself. Only then you will be able to master any project. So keep up the good work and don't hesitate to reach out if you need any support. Once again, thank you so much for watching the video, and I would really appreciate if you provide the feedback on the course so that it will help other students to achieve their goals.